All right, friends, we've made it to the last two proofs on the Chapter 5 study guide, questions 46 and 47. Again, let's start with our givens and make sure that we have all of that highlighted in the picture as well as on the proof. And so we are given that these two angles are congruent and then that these two lines are parallel. And so let's go write the word given and then make sure that we have also have that emphasized on the picture. And so angle QST is congruent to angle TRQ. So let's put an angle next to it just to show ourselves that that is there. And so QST is this angle right here, and then TRQ is right here. So they already have that marked for me with two arcs. And then it also says that these are parallel in the given. These lines, QS and RT. It does not say that they are congruent, so I'm not going to add that as a side, but it does say that they are parallel. And so because it says that there's a parallel, our next step is going to be to add alternate interior angles. So here's my overlap, here's my transversal. So if those lines are parallel, which angles are going to be my alternate interior? My alternate interior angles, I tell my students to use those parallel marks as kind of like a you are here on a map. So start right here and then go to the closest transversal. That is going to be my alternate interior angles, okay? So same thing here. Closest transversal would be here. These are alternate interior angles. So when I name that, I could name the first one angle SQT. SQT. I'm going to use my congruent statement that they already have listed for me here to kind of help me out and make sure I name it in the right order. SQT is 1, 2, 3. So that is going to be congruent to angle RTQ. So 1, 2, 3, angle RTQ. Okay, those are alternate interior angles. And then we know that we're missing something because we have an angle and we have an angle, so we're missing something in order to be able to prove these triangles congruent. That side overlaps at side QT, so I'm going to add a tick mark there. That side, those back up to each other, so I know that Q to T, 2, 3, is going to be congruent to T to Q. That's because this has been rotated, so I have to rotate the positions of those as well. Q would be on top of T and T would be on top of Q when I rotated those triangles. That is going to be our reflexive property of congruence. Okay, and so now I've got an angle, and a side, congruent to an angle, and a side, so that is going to be my shortcut. I get to add that shortcut right here because all I'm doing is I am proving, in step 5, I'm proving that these triangles are congruent. That is going to be by angle, side, the angle, side shortcut. Okay, let me do that to match the other one. Angle, side. So that's one of my 5 shortcuts. So those triangles are, in fact, congruent. That is all we wanted to prove, so I get to stop there. I'm not going to use CP/CTC on this proof because they don't want to prove any parts are congruent. They just wanted us to prove that the triangles as a whole were congruent. All right, and then 47 is your first very, very blank proof, or fully blank proof. And so we're going to start with our givens just like normal. JM is congruent to NL, so I'm going to write that here. JM is congruent to LN, sorry. So that's my given. And then I'm going to go mark that in the picture. So given. J to M is congruent to L to N. And then they also tell me that J to N, that segment, is congruent to L to M. So I'm literally just copying that from above into the proof. Now we need to copy that into the picture. So I write given. Those are congruent. And so I have 2 sides. Now I look at the picture and I say, okay, is there anything that I can add? Well, I can add this overlap from M to N. Those do touch each other. Those overlap at a side. And so I'm going to put 3 tick marks on that. MN is going to be congruent to, well, here's where you kind of have to be careful. We need to make sure we're naming it in the right order. So this is going to be the reflexive property of congruence. But we need to see how we name it. Well, the good thing is that we already have what we're trying to prove. So what are we trying to prove? We're trying to prove that these triangles are congruent. So I'm going to go ahead and write that here. We're given that triangle MJN is congruent to triangle NLM in that exact order. So we get to use that to finish my statement. So MN is first and then third. So we're going to say that that's congruent to NM, which means that it has been rotated. What shortcut is that? Why can I say that those are congruent? What shortcut is that? That is going to be side, side, side. That is my side, side, side shortcut. So I get to put that here. Those triangles are congruent to each other by side, side, side. So I proved what I wanted to prove, that the triangles were congruent by the side, side, side shortcut. That is our Chapter 5 study guide, so make sure you know which shortcuts work to prove triangles congruent, and then which shortcuts are going to imply not enough information, meaning you're not going to have a congruent statement there.